What's going on? This is Cody, and you are tuned to B-Boy 45, broadcasting from the Seacrest Studios. We have another special edition of the latest news to keep you in the groove with Maya. Maya, what's special about today's edition?
Because Aviva Mongillo is calling in.
All right, woo! Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Excellent. Well, we are so glad to have you, Maya. Take it away, girl.
So my first question for you is who or what inspired you to start acting?
The very first thing, I remember watching Peter Pan, like the live action Peter Pan movie, and then I went to school and like lied to everyone that I was Wendy. And I played the role of Wendy in that movie, and they were like, obviously you didn't. I was like 6 or 7 years old. They're like, obviously you didn't play that role. Like, it's not you. And I'm like, no, it is me. And I think like ever since I watched that movie, just the fantasy of it, the idea of getting to live like a life that's not yours and like have magic be real or have like things that you don't get to experience them in a different way. That was what inspired me.
Oh, cool. So when did you first know that you wanted to be a singer?
I think I was about 10. And I went to a friend's birthday party, and she had this karaoke machine that she'd set up, and I had never really sung or like thought about it. And when we did that karaoke thing, we just had so much fun. And then my friend very kindly complimented my voice and was like, wow, you can sing. So once I kind of considered that, knowing that I loved stories, like in movies, storytelling and stuff, and then knowing that I enjoyed singing, I kind of like to combine those things. I started like writing my own songs and then just like performing for my family and stuff. And then it just kind of stuck.
Oh, cool. So is there a singer or band that had a big influence on your music style?
I think so. I feel like in my music, you can hear a lot of, when I was growing up, I listened to Taylor Swift a lot, and I still do, and Avril Lavigne. So those, I feel like you can hear those too, especially I have a new single coming out on Friday, and I feel like I call that single the influence single, because you can hear all the people I listen to, like Taylor Swift, Carly Rae Jepsen, Avril Lavigne. Those were those really cool women that I really liked.
Oh, cool. So I love your song, Princesses Don't Cry. What inspired you to write this amazing song?
Thank you. Well, I think it like ties again. It all ties back to like the same kind of idea of this like fantasy thing. And how I had a partner in high school that was like, he called me his princess, but I personally like didn't like to be called that. And I didn't feel like the person he saw me as was who I really was on the inside. And it felt like the person I really wanted to express, I couldn't. I felt like very like, oh, like there's so many like expectations of me as a girl, as a young girl, to be a certain way. And I didn't like any of that. And I'm a very like, as all women are, we're not perfect, and we're not meant to fit in a box of like what a lady should be and what a girl should be. So I think that's kind of what inspired that song, was like, him calling me princess, because I was just like, oh, a princess doesn't cry. Like, it just, putting that word in was for that reason. But the main message being that, girls aren't meant to be princesses. We're not a stereotype. We're people. So that was kind of like the idea of it.
Oh, I love that. So you played Aaliyah in Backstage, and I loved that show. Could you relate to her in any way?
Absolutely. When I was playing her, I remember I expected it to be almost easy because I could relate to her a lot, and her like stage fright and her kind of like fear of performing, fear of kind of being wrong or messing up, or like very shy. I totally feel like I relate to that side of her. And there are definitely some sides of her that just, yeah, they did feel a lot like me, but then when I was playing her, I think where am I going with this, Aviva? Where are you going with it? When I was playing her, it was actually harder to play her, even though I did relate to her a lot, because it was almost like, oh, sorry, I thought I heard someone speaking. The playing her from a perspective of like knowing she was a lot like me was like a paradox a little bit, because it was like, oh, this character's scared of being herself, and I'm kind of scared of being myself. So how do I play a character that's scared to be herself? And ultimately, I think it all worked out very well. It comes across that I'm a little bit afraid.
um, so did you have a favorite episode to film?
That's such a great question. We filmed a lot of the episodes like very sporadically. So we would film, like I would film like a scene from episode 2 and then a scene from episode 6, sometimes like right after each other. So we didn't like film the episodes all at once, like together. But that being said, there was one day where we got to film in the gym and we did like a baseball scene. I'm not sure if you remember that. I think it's in season 1, but we got to film that scene, and like I just remember that being a lot of fun because we were just playing a game and running around and being silly. So I don't know what episode that's from, but I loved filming that scene.
Oh, cool. So how did the opportunity to be a part of the movie Long Shot with Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron come about?
That was a really cool opportunity that came up just through auditions. Like usually how I'm not sure if you know like how much you know about acting and stuff like that, but like we get auditions and then we send in our audition, and then sometimes we hear back, sometimes we don't. So I got sent that audition, and it was just one of those things where I read the description and I was like, I need this. And like usually you just kind of like, you're like, all right, it's an audition, but this was like a huge thing. So I paid for time in like a self-tape studio to like have it done really professionally, my audition. And just like studied Charlize and how she moved and kind of like the script and stuff, like so much more than I'd ever studied before, like just because I wanted it so badly. But it just came up like any other thing. And I think from doing that and booking that, it was very validating for, the work that we put in on these auditions and stuff. I'm not sure if that answered your question. It came through an audition, and then I sent it out and I crossed my fingers.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So your stage name as a singer is Carrie's. Why did you choose that name?
I chose that name because we changed my name because there was another artist. She's still out there. She goes by Aviva. And she's doing very well. So I was like, we can either like add a last name to my name, or we could just change it. And I've always liked the idea of changing my name. So I went on one of those like baby naming websites, like where you can look up like name meanings and stuff, because like, I think that that's very important to me. And I was looking up names that meant like light, love, like good, positive names. And I came across Caris, which derives from the Welsh word caru, I think, which means love. And so that stuck with me because I was like, Caris is a pretty unique name, and also it means something so nice. So that's why I picked that one.
Oh, cool. So do you have any upcoming projects?
Yeah, I just had my single No More come out, and then I had the music video for that. And on Friday, I'm releasing my next single called Crush. And it comes along with like, you can pre-order my EP, which is coming out on October 2nd. So we have a lot of music stuff coming up.
Oh, cool. So what song do you have on repeat right now?
I got to pick up my phone for this one. Let me see. Um, Taylor Swift's newest album, I've been listening to like crazy. Have you listened to it? Folklore?
Yeah, I haven't heard all of the songs, but I've heard a lot of them, and I really like it.
Yeah, I was just blown away by this album, and I just think it's my personal like favorite album she's ever released. So I've been listening to that like crazy. And then another song that's been on repeat, I know there was one that I found recently that I've been playing like crazy. Talk Deep by East, I think her name is. It's like E, then this little symbol, and then ST. But it's a very good song. It's this one.
Oh, cool. I'll have to listen to that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So, is there a show that you're currently binge watching?
Currently, I just binged a ton of Rick and Morty, which I think that's like a PG-16 show. Oh, 1 second. Yes? Oh, yes, please. Okay, yeah. I'm just doing an interview. That's okay. That's my brother. Sorry, could you repeat the question? I think I just spaced out.
Yeah. Is there a show that you're currently binge watching?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I've been watching Rick and Morty, but that's like a PG-16 show, but that's what I've been watching. I said that because I'm the pressure to keep it G-rated. And what was one I watched recently that I really liked? I really like watching comedy. Like I love comedy. Oh, I watched a lot of SpongeBob recently. I got like really into binge watching SpongeBob at like 1 a.m.
Yeah, over quarantine, I binged watched the entire series of Parks and Rec.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because I'd seen episodes, but not the whole series. So I was like, I have time. I'm going to watch the whole series. So that's what I did. Like every morning, I just woke up and I would binge watch like 5 episodes. So
I mean, I feel like that's just what quarantine has become, what it's for, is like catching up on all the TV. I've heard great things about Parks and Rec. I haven't gotten to watch it yet. So maybe this is my sign.
Yeah, it's so funny. I never saw it until quarantine, but like last year, one of the classes I took was street law, and my teacher, it was my favorite class ever, and my teacher decided like one day just to show us a couple episodes of Parks and Rec, because it like the topics they were talking about related to something that we were talking about. So he showed us a couple episodes. I was like, okay, I love this. I have to watch the entire series now. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
What a cool teacher.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, he was the best. So but how have you spent your time during quarantine?
I've discovered a lot of new hobbies in quarantine that I didn't like recognize I would enjoy. Like I did used to read pretty randomly. Like I would read like one book and then I would like not read another book for 6 months or something. But then I got really into reading. So I've been reading a bunch, and then I've been meditating a lot. I just bought a new journal. So I've been like journaling and like scrapbooking. I love to like cut stuff out and glue things. So I've just been like collaging in my journal. And I actually just bought, this is pretty random, but I saw this online and I was like, I'm going to do this. You can buy these like they're like doll houses, but you build everything in them. So like you get a whole box. Wait, let me get it for you so I can show you what it is. Because I just think this is so cool and I'm such a child about it. It's like a dollhouse and every single part of it you get to build by yourself. So my mom went and got me this. So I'm really excited to start that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, just like other than working and like doing music stuff behind the scenes, and I filmed my music video for No More as well while we've been in quarantine with my brother. But other than that, just like trying to keep busy, like finding fun things to do.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I've decided to just like print out a bunch of pictures and like decorate everything. I decorated the side of my dresser and then the inside of my closet door, and now I've moved on to a notebook. So
I love that for you. And I see, is that Ariana Grande behind you?
yeah.
Oh, with the dogs too.
Yeah. What was actually so cool how we got that was there's an Ulta by our house, and when Ariana came out with her first perfume, every time we went there they had that cutout of her next to her perfume. So every time we went there, I would have my sister take pictures of me with that. And then there was one day we went there, and one of the employees there she saw me looking at the perfume again, and she was like, "I think we still have the cutout. Do you want it?" I was
Goodness.
I was like, "Yes, please." And then my mom saw it, and she was like, where are we gonna put this?
So lucky. I know exactly what you're talking about, because near my high school, in our Shoppers Drug Mart, we had a Justin Bieber one beside his perfume, but except we just got weird looks for taking pictures with it.
Yeah, my mom actually, when we first got that, she had the best time, like just putting it random places and scaring my sister and I. So
Terrifying. They're
yeah.
so terrifying. If you don't know that they're there.
Yeah. Yeah, and we got it like when my sister she was like at a friend's house or something. So when we got home, we decided to put the cutout behind the bathroom door. And then so when my sister came home and went to wash her hands, she saw that and she screamed. And then my mom, like, once she like put it behind me, and so I turned around and she was just right there. And she like put it in my sister's bed and like behind our shower curtain. So she just had the best time scaring us.
Yeah, seriously, it's like a gift and a curse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. um, so, sorry, I lost what question I was on. Is there a line from a song, book, or movie that's had a big impact on you?
Huh. I think the first song that came to my head was Long Live by Taylor Swift. In her bridge, I don't know what the lyrics are, but the bridge of Long Live, I remember hearing that, and like I used to sing that. All of Taylor Swift's bridges are amazing. Like all her, like, even have you heard like All Too Well, like you call me up again just to break me like a promise. Have you heard that?
I don't think so. Wait, no, I feel
Great
like
song recommendation.
okay. What's
All
it
Too
called?
Well. It's called All Too Well by Taylor Swift.
Okay.
I just look like the craziest, biggest Taylor Swift fan right now, which I totally am. So it's accurate, but I'm so obsessed with her. But yeah, so that song, Long Live, stuck with me. And I think just like the movie Peter Pan, like when I watched that movie, that's just probably the most I remember a movie. Like I feel like I could draw the whole thing out from like how many times I watched it. So like I guess the messages of that movie, like never growing up and like keeping the child within you alive and stuff like that, like all of that really has stuck with me.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I feel like there's definitely a movie that like a lot of the lines have stuck with me, and like so I think about them a lot. And then there's a song that there's this line where it's a song called So We Did. And there's this line that he says, they told me that I couldn't, so I did. And I'm constantly just like repeating that to myself.
I love that for you. Like, I remember I used to say something along the lines of that too when I was younger. Even now, it's just like when people tell you not to do something, it makes you want to do it so much more.
Yeah. Yeah.
As you should.
Yeah. So my last question for you is, who do you consider to be a real life superhero and why?
Real life superhero. This is a great question. It has stumped me. The first name that came to mind was Lizzo. But then, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, Lizzo. But then also, like, I can think of so many people. And I think what I want to say, which is a little cheesy, but I think this is what I believe, is that we all have a superhero within us. And the people we look up to and we see them as heroes, like, wow, my hero, or like, they're such a amazing person. If you didn't have that quality in yourself, you wouldn't be able to recognize it in somebody else. And knowing that our heroes are people just like anybody else is like, I think what being a superhero is like, really for me, is just knowing that anyone can be a superhero. And like, as long as you're living your truth and like being who you are and doing your best, like all of us have that inside of us to be like a hero. Yeah, that's my answer, as cheesy as it is. That's what I want to say.
No, I agree with that. I was actually looking up quotes yesterday. Like, I never used to be like a big superhero fan, but then last year Shazam came out, and that is my favorite movie ever.
I love that movie.
I just became obsessed with it, and then there were these other superheroes that I kind of became obsessed with, and so I'm like, okay, turns out I do like superheroes.
Yeah, I saw that you did an interview with Zachary Levi.
Yeah,
that's amazing. How was that?
Thank you. It was so cool. I had no idea it was happening. They surprised me.
Oh my gosh.
And so he just like popped up on the screen, and I actually stopped breathing for a minute, and my mom she was sitting right here, and she saw like my face turn purple, and she had to whisper to me, breathe.
Yeah, seriously. But oh my gosh, like, I know, like, I have my people where like if they were to just like pop up on the screen, I would just pass out of frame, like.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for calling in. I had so much fun talking to you.
Thank you, and the feeling is very mutual. I had a great time.
We sure enjoyed it here at Children's Hospital Colorado. Maya, another good show. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye.